Hey guys, Mr. Oats here. I just wanted to make a quick video to speak about my experience with hyperproductivity and the good and the bad of it, because you can be certain there is a lot of good and there is a lot of bad as well. It's a sacrifice that I'm making. It's something that I'm fully embracing regardless of the drawbacks, but I just wanted to get on here and give you an overall picture of what it's like, so that you can consider whether this is a path that you want to go down as well. Because this is absolutely a route that you can choose to take if you want. And essentially, the overall thesis is that it will make you incredibly successful and wealthy, but it will come at a cost of your time during your younger years and potentially the ability to enjoy certain things in your life. But you can relearn how to do that. But let me get into it and I'll sort of break down all of the reasons that I have. Number one, hyperproductivity is extremely beneficial, especially when you're young, because when you're young, that's when it's really easy to fuck around and, buy a lot of things that you don't need, go on a lot of trips that you don't need, spend your time doing things that you don't have to, waste a lot of time, waste a lot of mental effort, waste a lot of expertise, waste a lot of time where you could be learning things a lot more efficiently. When you're young, that's when your neuroplasticity is at its highest. That's when you can really be picking up and absorbing new information and new skills really quickly. And it's when you're going to be most malleable and most adaptable as well. So if you waste this time right now, then when you're 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, it's going to be even harder to adapt to the way the world is enough that you can profit from it. When you're young, you can change with the times. You can stay up to date with the latest trends. You can see the way the world's moving and you can just sort of move with it. But tell me if I'm wrong, but when you look around, do you see old people moving with the times? Because most of the time you don't. Even once you start hitting 30, 35, 40, that's when you start seeing them fall off a little bit from the wave. If that makes sense. The wave being like trends and new technologies and the latest things, and just understanding the current cultural zeitgeist, which is incredibly important in my opinion, because I feel like when you're young, you really do have some insight into the way the world's moving that, a lot of older people are less likely to have. And, it's really easy to fall for the trap of thinking, oh, that will never be me. That will never be me. I'll always be able to stay abreast of the most recent cultural movements and the latest developments in culture and science and business and the economy, all this. It's you're most likely not going to be exempt from this general rule of thumb. You should prepare as if you are going to be with the majority, in that you're going to get progressively more and more rigid in your thinking, and you're not going to be able to ride that wave that the young folks can forever. And just in general, the older you get, the more responsibilities you tend to accrue, whether that be financial, like mortgages or car loans or whatever, or kids, or looking after your folks, your mum and dad. Maybe they need some medical help, or you need to become a caretaker. Maybe something happens in your community and you have to really step up to help out. Maybe there's a natural disaster. Maybe there's war. There can be a million things. All you have is right now. So there's an old saying, and I think it's a wise one, and it says, make hay while the sun shines. And I think it's absolutely worthwhile doing that. So that's probably the first one, is just utilizing the time where you're most able to make hay while the sun shines, to make money while you can most optimally. Like, you'll never be more energetic than you are right now while you're 20. There's a famous quote from Alex Hormozy which speaks about that. But it's so true. Like, you have so much vibrance and so much elasticity. Like, you really are just made of rubber and magic, as old mate from Modern Wisdom likes to say. You have a certain vibrance and a certain vitality and a certain amount of energy, but you also have a way of recouping that energy a lot quicker, and you can bounce back from sleepless nights a lot quicker, and you can learn quicker. You just do everything better when you're young. It's the time factor, it's the ability to learn, it's the ability to make money, it's the ability to do so with a lot more time and a lot less stress. Now is just the absolute best time for it. And the second major reason why you want to be hyperproductive is simply because if you're hyperproductive now and you can sacrifice a good 5 to 10 years right now, your money has the most time possible to compound and grow on its own. You can very quickly develop an engine that's going to keep printing you more and more money. You can get it to a point where you don't even have to really think about it. If you really just sacrifice a good 5-10 years while you're young to do this, then if you do it right and you're responsible, you won't ever have to think about it again, and it'll just be there making more and more money on its own, and you won't have to, you can just set it and forget it essentially. But you do have to make that sacrifice. But that time, as the money guys say, and I'm quoting everyone today, but as the money guys say, you're a billionaire of time, and that couldn't be more true. So those would be the primary two reasons why you want to do it now. Well, I probably listed off a bunch of sub reasons within those main ones, but you get what I'm trying to get at. But there are some real reasons why there are some real drawbacks. Hyperproductivity has some very serious drawbacks. To become hyperproductive and make it habitual and just make it a part of your identity and your personality and who you are, it comes at the cost of being able to enjoy recreational activities. And I've come to recognize that recently. If you've watched my recent videos, you'll understand. But you will start to feel really lousy if you're not being productive all of the time. Like you want to be going. But you know, there's also another way to look at it, and that's just that, you know, especially when you're young, when you should be grinding, you have less of a reason to be resting as well. So you have to really earn that rest, and you have to really work hard to earn that rest period. But yeah, it is really hard to, you know, settle down for a night with something that you would normally enjoy, and then you glean zero dopamine from it because you just want to be going. You want to be working. You want to be, you know, well, you don't want to be, but like mentally, you know, you should be and you could be, and you're actively choosing not to rest and recover. And if that's not the absolute optimal decision, then your mind's going to let you know, and it's not going to let you enjoy the thing that you're settling down with, and you're going to feel a little bit worked up, a little bit anxious because you know you should be working. It also comes at the cost of relationships. I have frequently found myself letting friendships go, neglecting relationships with family and with partners because I am actively making this sacrifice, and from time to time it will negatively affect my relationships, and that's just something that's going to happen from time to time. I do actively do my best to balance them out, but sometimes if you really do adopt that hyperproductivity mindset, it's almost inevitable that sometimes you'll accidentally take it too far, and you won't have the energy or the time or the mental sort of focus and energy to spend time with people that really matter to you. And that's a hell of a sacrifice, man. It really fucking is. And if you wouldn't want to do this for that reason alone, I would understand. But there is a way to do it responsibly and in a way that doesn't mean you're always neglecting these things. But you really do have to be careful, because it is something that it can really, really harm your social relationships. And if you're not like me, if you're not naturally a hermit and you're not naturally inclined towards solitude and isolation, and you don't essentially prefer it that way, then you're going to struggle a lot more with that than I do. And I do struggle with that sometimes. It's a really hard thing, man. Like you'll feel like you're working really hard and you're doing all the right things, but then you're also suffering because you have people in your life being like, why don't you want to hang out with me? Why don't you want to spend more time with me? Like, you never go places with me. You never do this. You never do that. You never visit. You never call. You never say hi. Like that's what it can kind of feel like. And even if that just takes the form of the occasional remark here and there where they're like, oh, I haven't seen you in a few days. Like, how you been? You know, that stuff will play on your mind because you know you should be doing more. You know you should be hanging out more, talking more, doing more to, you know, keep nurturing these relationships and growing with these people. But sometimes you just don't have the energy for it because you're in that sacrifice period. You're in that season of your life where you're giving to your future self and to your future family and to your future friends and all that. And it's something that the vast majority of people they're just not going to get it. They're just not going to understand. And you can try to explain it to them, and sometimes they'll get it, or they'll say they get it. But, you know, some of them will secretly think that you're a bit of an asshole, and that hurts, but it's also the truth. So that is a hell of a drawback right there. The next thing that I want to mention, and it's also a drawback of being hyper productive. It's that it's fucking really stressful. Sometimes it's really stressful and it's really draining. It's sometimes it makes years feel really, really slow. Like, people say their 20s pass really quickly. Personally, I feel like that's because you're not working hard enough. Like, it's the old thing, like if you've ever done a plank or a really extreme all-out effort on some cardio or squats or RDLs, or like just a really hard movement or a really hard activity, time ain't gonna go fast, mate. I can tell you that. Not if you're really going as hard as you possibly can. That shit's gonna be rough. It's a bit like that, but mentally. If you're being productive all the time, like, you reach a point where you don't want to be productive anymore, but that's just the price you pay. You got to keep going even beyond the point where it's, you know, convenient, or the point where it's nice, or whatever. Like, you've got to keep pushing the limits and pushing your boundaries in this season of life with this mentality, and that can be fucking exhausting, and it's brutal. It can be really fucking brutal. And sometimes this makes you really emotionally reactive, which again negatively impacts relationships and a bunch of things. It can negatively impact a lot of things. And that is a serious price to pay as well. And if you take it to an extreme, it can make your younger years a very dark time for you. That's the truth. But it's, and this feeds into my next couple of points, which is why I still find it appealing. It makes for one hell of a story. It makes for one hell of a come-up story. And I tell you what, mate, it makes holidays feel so earned. Like, holidays feel incredible when you've been working your ass off and you can get away and you can just like fucking go down the beach or something for a few days and just fucking drink a bunch of gin tonics. I'm speaking from experience on this. Feels fucking incredible. Eat a bunch of nice food. Fucking have a handful of days where you just don't really think about the money. You just go and eat the nice food, you drink the nice drinks, you see the nice sights, you do the nice things. Fuck, it feels good. It feels really earned, and it feels good. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, you have to really earn your rest for it to feel good, but when you really do earn that rest, my god, does it feel good. It feels so fucking good. And you know, you don't get anything for nothing these days, or ever. For the most part. Unless you're like a nepo baby, I guess, but you know what I mean. Like, if it's earned, it feels all the better. Like, when you do finally start reaching those goals and you start realizing the fruits of your labor, it feels really good. It feels really, really good. When I receive my quarterly dividends, it feels fucking good. When I receive interest, it feels really good. When I hit a new milestone, it feels really good. Making contributions to my investment, to my savings, to my super, to anything, to things that are going to pay me more money in the future, feels fucking amazing. The darkness and the drawbacks of hyperproductivity, it's also the reason why the good parts of it are so good as well, because it does require massive sacrifice, a hell of a sacrifice. But because it requires such a sacrifice, the fruits of that labor just feel so good. But anyway, I just wanted to jump on here and just share my thoughts on that, because that's what I've been thinking about lately. If you guys are feeling similarly, or you have any thoughts or ideas or any other positive things or negative things that you guys have encountered when it comes to just working your ass off when you're young for a better tomorrow, I'd love it if you could share it with me. I would love to hear it. I'd love to know. I want to hear about everyone else's experience, because people that do this, they're a rare breed. They're a rare person, cut from a rare cloth. I want to surround myself with people like that. So if you're out there, leave a comment, and yeah, maybe we can just improve each other and have a better future for it. But I hope you're doing well. I hope your life has been kind to you, and hopefully I'll see you in the future. Bye bye.